County and nationwide. On behalf of Senator Richard Onyonka, thank you.
Senator Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing regarding the sudden collapse of the Economic Stimulus Program market structure under construction at Intern Town in Elgeyo County. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the committee should, 1, provide a comprehensive report detailing the procurement method used to award the tender for the construction of the market, the procedure used in evaluating bidders and awarding the contract. 2, state the name of the contractor awarded the tender and list all successful contracts completed by the tender awardee from 2019 to date. 3, disclose the tender award sum for the ESMPM, providing a detailed breakdown of expenditure towards the project to date. 4, clarify the reasons for the structure's collapse, including whether all construction standards and quality control procedures were followed. 5, finally, outline the actions taken by the State Department of Public Works in response to the unexpected collapse of the modern market structure. Honorable Speaker, I also have a second statement. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I arise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Roads, Transportation and Housing regarding delays in the upgrading to bitumen standard of Tot Junction, Jesekon Kopasi River Road, Tot Kilangata Road, and Jesekon Loop in Elgeyo County and West Pokot Counties, Honorable Speaker. In the statement, the committee should, 1, provide reasons for the prolonged delay in upgrading the said road to bitumen standard. 2, explain why the completion status of the said roads remain below 10% 36 months after the project commencement implementation commenced. 3rd, Honorable Speaker, clarify why the contractor and the resident engineer have been absent from the site for the past 3 months, and confirm whether the consultant APEC consortium possesses the necessary qualifications and competence to oversee the successful completion of the project. And then finally, Honorable Speaker, outline measures put in place to ensure that the contractor and consultant complete the project, including specific timelines for its completion and commissioning. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Maruma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity to request for a statement on a 900 million compensation fund for wildlife attack victims. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Land, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the 908 million shillings compensation fund released by the government for victims of wildlife attacks in Taita Taveta County and across the country. This compensation was announced on 12th July 2023 by the then Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife, Honorable Penina Malonza, at a ceremony held in Voi, Taita Taveta County. In the statement, the committee should, 1, list all claimants, specifying the nature of each claim, the date of the incident, the filing date, the claimed amount, and the payment date from 2014 to date, including a breakdown of how the 51.5 million shillings set aside for 350 victims in Taita Taveta County was allocated. 2, provide a status on all paid and unpaid claims, detailing the reasons for any unpaid claims and indicate the expected timeline for their settlement. 3, state the annual budget allocated for compensation related to wildlife attacks on individuals. 4, specify the maximum and minimum period within which claims should be settled, stating reprieve measures by the Kenya Wildlife Service, KWS, if payments are delayed beyond this period. 5, provide an update on the status of 322 million shillings promised to settle claims dating back to 1990s and include a comprehensive list of these claims. And finally, 6, determine the status of the compensation insurance program, listing the counties in the pilot phase and detail cases that have been settled under this program. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Sek.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. A request for statements on medical interns in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement for the Standing Committee on Health regarding the medical interns who have not received their rightful remunerations since being posted in August 2024. This situation has left the young health professionals in state of financial and emotional turmoil. Honorable Speaker, in the statement, the committee should explain the root cause of the prevailing stalemate between the Kenya medical practitioners, pharmacists, and dentist unions and government concerning remunerations of medical interns, outlining any efforts by by parties to promptly resolve this stalemate. 2, state whether a professional arrangement can be made to pay the medical interns pending resolutions of the stalemate or final determinations of the disputes before the Employment and Labor Relations Courts to prevent further hardship among the interns. 3, explain how budgetary allocations for remunerations of medical interns are determined in every financial year, outlining measures put in place to ensure the allocations are disbursed in a timely manner, and 4, outline actions taken by government to address existing gaps in current internship framework that have led to the ever-recurring delay in payment of remunerations to medical interns. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Tabitha Keroch.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Lands, Environment and Natural Resources regarding the status of the Njoro Kisima land, title number 9216, purchased by the government in 2014 to resettle internally displaced persons, IDPs, from the Njoro and Nakuru pipeline areas. In the statement, the committee should explain why the internally displaced persons, the IDPs, are still living in Nakuru pipeline camps despite the government purchasing 1,102 acres of land number 9216 Njoro Ward, Njoro Sub-County, for their resettlement. provide reasons why the government has not yet subdivided the land for distribution to the beneficiaries, many of whom are still languishing in poverty, living in inhuman conditions, and exposed to diseases in congested camps. State the measures taken by the government to identify the genuine beneficiaries, considering the report attempts by the land cartels to introduce alternatives lists of beneficiaries, and explain the actions taken by the government to address and prosecute the land cartels and local administrations involved in the illegal renting and leasing of land meant for the internally displaced persons. Led by Senator Tabitha Kiroche, Nakuru Senator. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Dulo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget regarding alleged misappropriation of funds in Isiolo County. In the statement, the committee should investigate and table a report on the integrated payroll, IPPD, and provide the list of staffers, both permanent and casual, as captured in the IPPD system, indicating their terms of engagement when they were recruited and when their details were captured in the system. To establish the resources allocated towards payment of staffers, both permanent and casual, vis-a-vis allocation to overall county budget for the past 3 years. 3, investigate and report on the allegation that there are discrepancies in the remuneration of the staffers, hence to the county government is losing unsurmountable monies and interventions in place to hold those culpable to account. 4, investigate the allegation that the county government of Isiolo is losing millions of shillings as a result of having ghost workers on the payroll. 5, provide detailed information to ascertain the circumstances under which the county executive continues to pay salaries using manual processes instead of the recognized verified IPPD system, hence misappropriating funds. 6, state what measures the Isiolo Public Service Board has put in place to ensure proper checks and control in terms of ensuring IPPD data, staff, medical insurance, and payroll management are free from manipulation and adhere to the law. I have one last one, if you can allow me, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, Honorable Senator.
I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Education regarding the allocation of bursary funds by Isiolo County Government. In the statement, state the criteria for selecting and qualifying applicants for the bursary, including how Isiolo County prioritize applicants and ensure a transparent and fair process. Provide the details of the total bursary funds allocated by the county government for the financial year 2022, 23, 24, 23, 22, 23, 24, and 24, 25. 3, explain the criteria used to allocate bursaries and whether the county government has a mechanism in place to ensure that the children from poor background benefit from the same. 4, provide how bursary is allocated from grassroots up to the county level. And finally, table the list of bursary beneficiaries for the financial year 22-23, 23-24, and 24-25. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Eddie Okech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. This is a request of a statement on alleged breach of confidential subscriber information by Safaricom. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Information, Communication and Technology regarding the alleged breach of confidential subscriber information by Safaricom. Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should, 1, determine whether Kenyans have in the past 4 years raised concerns about data breaches by Safaricom and outline the measures taken to address them. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should confirm whether Safaricom has data sharing agreement with the government, including the data of its formulation and execution, and whether subscribers were informed and consented to this agreement, and provide a copy of that agreement. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should also establish whether it is mandatory for Safaricom to collect and store subscriber data, such as location, and to monitor calls to provide its services, and clarify why similar practices are not required for other telecom providers. In the statement also, Mr. Speaker, the committee should detail the safeguards Safaricom has in place to protect subscriber data when shared with third parties, either with or without court orders. And in the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should also determine why Safaricom receives higher volume of data breach complaints compared to other service providers. Also in the statement, Mr. Speaker, the committee should explain the discrepancy on access to subscriber data by the government and its agencies when tracking suspects, but the same is not made available to assist subscribers in tracing lost phones. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, in the statement, the committee should assess the security of subscriber data, considering that SIM card installation on Safaricom lines is handled by an international company by the name Neural Technologies, and provide a copy of the agreement between Safaricom and the said company. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernande. Senator Chiranke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, request for statement on the passage of deliberately incurred demurrage costs to consumers of petroleum products. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of Energy regarding the passage of deliberately incurred demurrage costs to consumers of petroleum products. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should, 1, state the current daily tariff for demurrage of the Port of Mombasa for ships carrying petroleum products, indicating the maximum required vis-a-vis current average timelines for offloading and clearing the petroleum products at the port. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, sir, disclose the total amount of money paid for demurrage so far in the 2024-2025 financial year for delays in offloading and clearing petroleum products at the Port of Mombasa, providing reasons for the delay. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, provide the details of the current arrangement for payment of demurrage fees under the government-to-government or G2G agreement between Kenya and the Gulf countries for the supply of fuel, stating whether the monthly vessel scheduling meeting, FSM, that normally approves payment of demurrage fees still takes place. And finally, Mr. Speaker, explain why the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, IPRA, passes down demurrage costs to consumers of petroleum products, yet some ships that are bringing in this product are deliberately delayed so that they can claim substantial amounts in demurrage fees at the port. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Senator Hamido.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and on behalf of my colleague, Senator Hamida, I read her statement on the increase in bizarre abductions and murders. Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee of National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations regarding the recent wave of abductions and gruesome murders across the country, which has left Kenyans deeply alarmed about their safety and security. Mr. Speaker, these disturbing trends include recent cases of mutilated remains found in various counties, reflecting a broader crisis of unresolved murders, brutal violence, and the apparent failure to bring perpetrators to justice. The tragic death of Waris Daud, her daughters Nuseiba Dahir, her niece Amina Abdi Rashad, and Wells Fargo executive Willis Onyango Ayeko, among others, exemplify the horror of these unresolved cases, highlighting systematic challenges within our investigative and justice system. In the statement, the committee should, 1, conduct an inquiry into the surge in abductions and violent killings reported across the country, tabling on cases documented from August 2023 to October 2024, and assess any patterns that may indicate the root cause behind these brutal acts. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, describe the actions taken by the DCI and other law enforcement agencies to investigate and bring to the perpetrators to justice. 3, detail the current protocols and resources allocated by the National Police Service for the protection of vulnerable groups, including women and children, who have been disproportionately affected by these heinous crimes. 4, Mr. Speaker, outline the role of the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, and the National Police Service Commission in ensuring transparency and accountability in the handling of murder cases, and state the steps taken to strengthen these bodies to address rising public concerns about the justice and system. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, recommend additional measures for the establishment of a fully functional coroner's office to improve forensic investigations, provide transparency, and enhance accountability in addressing unexplained deaths and disappearances. This is for Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Senator Sige Wakili.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Request for statement on the contract status of engagement and remuneration of administrators, village councils, and program officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations regarding various issues pertaining to administrators and village councils. Mr. Speaker, sir, cognizant of the roles of administrators and village councils as set out by the County Governments Act number 17 of 2012, Section 50, 51, 52, and 53 to coordinate, manage, and supervise the general administrative functions such as service delivery, provision, and maintenance of infrastructure and facilities of public service, among others, acknowledging that Article 174D and the 4th Schedule, Part 214 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 recognizes the right of communities to manage their own affairs and to further their development as one of the key objects of devolution, where counties are to ensure and coordinate the participation of communities in governance at the local level, appreciating that the sovereign power belongs to the people and exercised at both levels of government, developing an administrative capacity for effective governance at the local level is a fundamental role assigned to the administrators and the village councils, and aware that contracts of the majority of the county administrators lapsed early this year, 2024, and that those of village councils are still active, their interdependence notwithstanding. Mr. Speaker, sir, that the program officers were recruited on permanent and pensionable terms to serve in all the wards and sub-counties, respectively, in the county government of Bomet. Mr. Speaker, I seek the following information from the relevant committee. 1, to provide copies of advertisements declaring and inviting applications for the positions of sub-ward administrators between the years 2020 and 2024 in the county government of Bomet, provide the schedule of all sub-ward administrators recruited to date and their respective sub-ward units, attach copies of their appointment letters where applicable. 3, provide payroll schedule for the above appointees for their entire contract term. The payroll, Mr. Speaker, should indicate the net pay, statutory deductions, and proof of their remittances. 4, confirm whether the county government of Bomet is considering the renewal of their contracts, and if yes, what has occasioned its delay? If no, who coordinates county government functions at the sub-ward level and sub-county? 5, give the rationale behind utilization of administrators whose contracts ended and how they are compensated for such engagements. 6, give reasons why some pay slips are running to the year 2025, contrary to the appointment letters of such support administrators. 7, provide a schedule of active or inactive, whether acting or substantive sub-ward administrators, ward administrators, and sub-county administrators. 8, provide the updated schedule of support administrative units in the county government of Bomet. 9, Mr. Speaker, provide the impressed warrants and payment vouchers for the ward and sub-county administrators for the financial year 2022-2023 and the financial year 2023-2024. 10, list the measures instituted by the county government of Bomet to ensure that every administrative unit has an active administrator for the coordination, management, and supervision of county functions after the expiry of the administrator's contracts. 11, confirm that the county's failure to operationalize and optimize the lowest administrative units has not only denied the people of Bomet their rights to participate in development, access, and enjoyment of their respective devolved services. 12, provide the advertisements inviting applications for the positions of village council members, schedule of all the village council members in the county government of Bomet, and attach copies of their appointment letters. 13, give justifiable reasons why they have not been paid their allowances for the last 20 months despite budgetary allocations. 14, provide a copy of advertisement inviting applications for the positions of program officers and expound on the distinctions of their role from those of administrators. 15, provide their schemes of service and respective qualifications. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, 16, appraise how their appraisal and justification for their engagement on permanent and pensionable terms in their positions. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Keroche Tabitha.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health regarding the closure of Nakuru War Memorial Hospital despite issuance of orders on 1st October 2024 by the Court of Appeal for the immediate reopening of the hospital and formation of a 5-member committee to manage the hospital on interim basis pending determination of the case relating to the land on which the hospital sits. In the statement, the committee should explain why the county secretary for the Nakuru County government was included in the composition of the 5-member interim management committee of the hospital, despite his previous effort to frustrate and prevent investor through threatening phone calls to the hospital matron and by sending criminal goons to prevent patients from being admitted in the hospital, in total disregard of existing court orders. State reasons for the prolonged closure of the hospital, despite the court issuing 9 court orders for the reopening of the hospital, and outline steps taken by the interim management committee to ensure that governor and the other county officials comply with the court orders and adhere to the rule of law. Defying a court order is a very serious crime which is punishable by a fine of 200K and imprisonment of 6 months or both. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Read by Senator Tabitha Kiroche, Senator Nakuru County.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Security and Foreign Relations. Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a statement relating to the activities of the Standing Committee of Finance and Budget pursuant to Standing Order 56-1A. Mr. Speaker, I do rise pursuant to the Standing Order 56-1A to make a statement relating to a matter of which the committee is responsible, namely the resolution of the Senate on the current state of the nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, as you are aware, the Senate passed a motion on the current state of the nation on 24th of July 2024. In the resolution, the Senate directed the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget to, 1, in consultation with the Parliamentary Budget Office, to independently undertake audit of the national debt and present the actual status to Parliament. 2, engage the National Treasury to submit a roadmap on its strategies to reduce the public debt to not more than 55% of the gross domestic product in present value terms in compliance with Section 52C of the PFM Act, Cap 41A. And lastly, engage the National Treasury to identify and implement sustainable strategies to reduce the high cost of living. Mr. Speaker, the committee is seized of the matter, and in addition to the resolution of the Senate, the committee has received the following documents from the National Treasury. 1, revised 2024 medium-term debt management strategy, and a report on loans contracted by the government from 1st May to 31st August 2024. Mr. Speaker, to effectively deal with the matter and table a comprehensive report, the Committee of Finance tasked the Parliamentary Budget Office to scrutinize the budget public debt registry, report on newly contracted loans, and the revised 2024 MDBMS, that is the Medium Debt Management Strategy. The committee has scheduled a meeting on the 7th of November 2024 to be appraised by the Parliamentary Budget Office on the progress and status of analysis of the aforementioned documents. Mr. Speaker, consequently, the committee will invite the relevant stakeholder, that is the National Treasury and the Economic Planning, to appraise the committee on the current stock of public debt, strategies put in place to ensure that public debt remains sustainable and does not exceed the threshold provided for under PFM Act Cap 412A. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, the committee will table a comprehensive report in the Senate for consideration, including its recommendations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Cohesion and Intergovernmental Relations.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would want to table the status report of the Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on the motion regarding the state of employment in the public service and compliance with the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Honorable Speaker, upon the filing of the motion by the Senate Majority Leader and the Senate Minority Leader, the Senate on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, mandated the Standing Committee on the National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration to engage the Public Service Commission and National Cohesion and Integration Commission on audit the state of employment in the public service, including county governments, and propose strategies to adhere to the democracy, equality, and equity of opportunities across the public service as exposed in Article 232 of the Constitution on the values and principles of the public service, and engages the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority to audit compliance with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act by the public procurement entities with a view to establish a roadmap to ensure the compliance of the said provision of the Act. Honorable Speaker, the committee thereafter engaged the stakeholders and sought information on the following areas: the democratic composition of all employees of the county government in terms of gender, persons living with disabilities, age, and ethnicity. B, the democratic composition of the county executive committee members and chief officers of in terms of gender, persons with disabilities, age, and ethnicity. And C, any agreement conducted by the county government in the last 3 years outlining the positions that have been filled by the criteria applied in the selections of candidates. Honorable Speaker, the status of the compliance by the county government with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, Cap 412C. E, affirmative action measures being implemented by the county in promotion of women, youth, persons living with disabilities in recruitment and leadership. And if any audit or assessment undertaken in the last 3 years to ascertain the level of inclusivity in the recruitment process. Honorable Speaker, the committee met with the public procurement, that is the PPRA and the NCIC. Additionally, it has received submission from the Public Service Commission. Additionally, the committee also met and deliberated with the following counties: Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi, Tana River, Lamu, Garissa, Wachir, Marsabit, Tharaka Nithi, Embu, Kitui, Machakos, Makwiny, Nyandarua, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Kiambu, Turkana, West Pokot, Samburu, Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, Laikipia, Nakuru, Narok, Kajiado, Kericho, Bomet, Kakamega, Vihiga, Busia, Homa Bay, Migori, Kisii, Nyamira, Bungoma, and Nairobi. The committee intends to meet Siaya, Kisumu, Meru, Nandi, and Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, the committee therefore wishes to submit the general observation made on the ongoing process of engagement with the relevant stakeholders. Mr. Speaker, the democratic composition of all employees of the county executive in terms of gender, persons with disabilities, and age, ethnicity, the committee observed that all the 42 counties executive engaged have not complied with the provision of the Act 54 of the Constitution that at least 5% of the members of the public in elective and appointive bodies are persons with disabilities. Mr. Speaker, the committee further observed that some counties had affirmative actions policies with respect to persons with disabilities. The committee noted that all the counties executive have developed and implemented affirmative action policies with which facilitates the progressive implementation of the principles that at least 5% of the members of the public in elective appointive bodies are persons with disabilities. On age, the committee observed that most of the engaged county executive have staff comprising of youth. The committee further observed that the county executive have a large aging staff of 55 and above. Honorable Speaker, the committee further noted the need for the most of counties executive to develop and implement affirmative action programs such as succession planning as part of their human resource policy to ensure that the youth access employment in line with Article 55C of the Constitution. In terms of ethnicity, the committee observed the majority of the county executive have more than a third of its staff from dominant ethnic community in the county. The committee observed that some county executive justified having more than 1/3 of their staff from the same ethnic community by considering subtribes within the Kalenjin, Somali, Michikenda communities as distinct groups. Notably, governors acknowledged the political consolidation influenced by erring decisions, particularly for senior of staff positions. The committee observed that the Senate should consider undertaking post-legislative scrutiny of the Section 7 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act, which restricts the public establishment from having more than 1/3 of the staff from the same ethnic community in order to access the compliance, if compliance with the provision is achievable. Honorable Speaker, in the democratic composition of the County Executive Committee members and chief officers in terms of gender, persons with disabilities, age, and ethnicity, the committee observed some county executive and employed persons with disabilities as county executive committee members and staff and chief officers. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed the need for all the county executive to consider the appointment of persons with disabilities as county executive members and chief officers without undue reliance on their fair competition or merit in line with Section 10 of the Public Service Values and Principles Act. Honorable Speaker, the committee observed that some county executives did not have representation of the minorities, marginalized groups, and communities envisaged under Article 27(6) of the Constitution. The committee further observed that the Section 35 of the County Government Act prohibits the County Assembly from approving nomination for appointment of the Executive Committee if they do not consider minorities, marginalized groups, and communities. In addition, all county governments must ensure compliance with Article 56(c) of the Constitution as read with Section 35 of the County Government Act when nominating and appointing County Executive Committee members. On recruitment conducted by the county in the last 3 years, outlining the positions that have been filled and the criteria applied in the selection of the candidates, the committee recorded that some county public service boards have recruited more than 70% of the staff and entry-level positions of the dominant community in the county. Honorable Speaker, the committee further noted that the county service board must ensure that at least 30% of the vacant entry-level positions are filled by the candidates who are not from the dominant ethnic community in the county, in line with Section 65(1)(e) of the County Government Act. On the status by the county with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement Act, Asset Disposal Act, Cap 412C, the committee, during deliberation with the County Procurement Regulatory Authority, submitted the following counties who are non-compliant with Section 157(12) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, which provides for the requirement to report to them every 6 months as for the financial year 2022-2023 and 2023-2024. The counties are Meru, Nandi, Marsabit, Kariza, Isiolo, Kericho, Kiambu, Kisii, Mandera, Migori, Tana River, Tharaka Nithi, Turkana, and Vihiga, Honorable Speaker. Those are non-compliant counties. The committee further observed that compliant county executives have developed and implemented affirmative action programs such as establishment of special fund and civic education programs on AGBO to facilitate compliance with Section 53(b)(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. The committee observed that the county executive must develop, implement affirmative action programs and carry out benchmarking with their better performing counterparts in order to comply with Section 53(6) of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Mr. Speaker, we would also like to note that the committee has been guided by the relevant legislation which, while undertaking the engagement with relevant stakeholders. Honorable Speaker, I would not want to maybe mention the legal provision that is involved, but I want to move straight away, Honorable Speaker, if you allow me, to conclusion. That, Mr. Speaker, you will know that the process is ongoing. However, the committee and the Secretariat have been diligently working to ensure that the report meets the highest standards, and I believe a short extension will allow us to finalize the remaining details effectively. Honorable Speaker, it is now my pleasant duty and privilege to table the status report of the National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration Committee on the motion regarding the state of employment in the public service and compliance with Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Chair, Standing Committee on National Security.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 56-1 of the Senate Standing Orders to make a statement on the status of implementation of the Senate resolution by government departments, agencies, commission, and independent offices concerning the issues under the mandate of the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations as directed in the motion on the State of the Nation. 2, at the sitting of the Senate held on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, a motion on the State of the Nation was passed by the House. The Senate directed the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense, and Foreign Relations to engage with the National Police Service on matters of security and standard operating procedures for handling demonstration. Engage the government to compensate all persons whose property, both movable and immovable, were damaged or lost due to the demonstration. 3, engage the National Police Service to fast-track issuance compensation to police officers who either lost their lives or suffered injuries as a result of the demonstration. And finally, engage the Directorate of CID to have investigation undertaken to ascertain the identity of persons or organizations funding and coordinating the protests and demonstrations in the county. 3, consequently, the committee resolved to invite the following stakeholders, deliberate the issues raised by the Senate, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration, and the Inspector General National Police Service to deliberate over security situation in the country and standard operating procedures for handling demonstration in Kenya. The chairperson of the committee on fast-tracking the insurance compensation to police officers who either lost their lives or were injured during the demonstration. The Director, Occupational Safety and Health Services on the status of claims filed by the injured police officers as a result of demonstration. The Attorney General to discuss the issue of compensation for the damage of property or loss of lives occasioned to the people as a result of demonstration. Finally, the Director, Criminal Investigation Department on the investigation currently being undertaken to uncover the entities currently funding protests in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the committee met with the National Police Service Commission and the Director of Occupational Safety and Health Services on Thursday, 24th October 2024, to address the respective matters as raised in the motion. During the deliberation, the committee resolved to adjourn the meeting and reschedule to 4th November 2024 to allow the stakeholders prepare adequately on their submissions for extensive engagement and meaningful deliberation. The committee further resolved to extend invitation to the Social Health Authority and the Insurance Regulatory Authority to provide more insights on the issues that may arise out of the engagement with regard to the insurance cover. Honorable Speaker, the committee also considered the submission from the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Interior, on Tuesday, 29th October 2024, and resolved that the Cabinet Secretary provides a conclusive report on all counties affected and the number of civilians that were injured or lost lives during the protest. In addition, the committee also resolved to write to the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights to appear before the committee on the number of Kenyans who were injured, killed, or reported missing as a result of the protest. Mr. Speaker, the committee looks forward to meet and receive submissions from the following stakeholders before concluding on tabling the report. National Police Commission, Director of Occupational Safety and Health Services, Social Health Authority, Insurance Regulatory Authority, Directorate of Criminal Investigation, the Office of the Attorney General, and finally, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. As I conclude, I wish to thank the Office of the Speaker and the Clerk of the Senate for their steadfast support that they have accorded this committee, as well as the members of the committee, for their utmost dedication and commitment to the duty. Thank you.
Chairperson Jailak. You're supposed
Thank you.
to lay a paper.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker.
You're supposed to lay a paper.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I beg to table the report of the Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights on its consideration of the Constitution of Kenya Amendment number 2, Bill, Senate Bills number 46 of 2024.
Chairperson, Standing Committee on Land and Natural Resources, Senator Boni. Proceed to table that paper.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to lay on the table the report of the Senate Standing Committee on Lands and Environment and Natural Resources on the Land Amendment Bill 2022, National Assembly Bills number 40 of 2022. I thank you.
Now, statement pursuant to Standing Order 57-1, the Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to Standing Order number 57-1, I hereby present the business of the Senate for the week commencing Tuesday, 12th November 2024. Mr. Speaker, sir, the status of the legislative business before the Senate is as follows. A, 58 bills are pending conclusion, of which 40 are at the second reading stage, while 18 are at the committee of the whole stage. B, 30 motions are pending conclusion. C, 25 petitions are pending conclusion before standing committees, out of which 19 are due for reporting by the respective standing committees, and D, 430 statements pursuant to Standing Order number 53-1. As honorable senators are aware, in accordance with the calendar for the third session, the Senate will proceed on a short recess at the rise of the Senate today until 11th of November 2024. Regular sittings will resume on 12th of November, Tuesday, 2024, and I urge standing committees to use the recess to conclude on business pending before them. Mr. Speaker, upon resumption from the Senate on 12th of November, Tuesday, 2024, the Senate Business Committee will meet to consider the business for the week. The tentative business for that day will include business not concluded from today's order paper, as well as the business indicated in the notice paper. The tentative business for the morning sitting on Wednesday, 13th November 2024, will include scheduled questions to Cabinet Secretaries as approved by the Senate Business Committee, as well as motions, the summary of which is as follows. Question number 49, Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator George Mbugua. Question number 75, to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Peres Tobiko. Question number 76, to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Jackson Mandako. Question number 86, to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Agnes Kavindo. Question number 87, to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Joyce Korir. Question number 89, to the Cabinet Secretary for Tourism and Wildlife by Senator Julius Murgor. Question number 91, to the Cabinet Secretary for East African Community and Asals and Regional Development by Senator Julius Murgor. Question number 105, to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Hamida Kibwana. Question number 116 to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Catherine Muma. Question number 117 to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Professor Tom Ojienda. And question number 121 to the Cabinet Secretary for Health by Senator Professor Tom Ojienda. Mr. Speaker, sir, the sixth one is the business for the afternoon sitting on Wednesday, 13th November 2024, which will include business not completed in the order paper for the previous day of 12th of November 2024. And also, it will include the following bills. A, bills that are at the committee of the whole stage, namely the Street Vendors Protection of Livelihood Bill, Senate Bills number 41 of 2023, the Local Content Bill, Senate Bills number 50 of 2023, the Early Childhood Education Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 54 of 2023, the Land Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 40 of 2022, the National Disaster Risk Management Bill, National Assembly Bills number 24 of 2023, and the Cooperative Societies Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 53 of 2023. Also, there will be bills that are currently at the second reading stage. These include the Narcotics and Drugs Psychotropic Substances Control Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 1 of 2024, the County Oversight and Accountability Bill, Senate Bills number 3 of 2023, the County Civic Education Bill, Senate Bills number 4 of 2024, the County Statistics Bill, Senate Bills number 5 of 2024, the Provision of Sanitary Towels Bill, Senate Bills number 7 of 2024, the Statutory Instruments Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 10 of 2024, the County Assembly's Pension Scheme Bill, Senate Bills number 14 of 2024, the Public Finance Management Bill, Senate Bills number 27 of 2024, the Creative Economy Support Bill number of 2024, the Livestock Protection and Settlement Bill, the Sports Amendment Bill, the County Government's State Officers Removal from Office Procedures Bill, the County Government's Amendment Bill, the County Library Services Bill, the Labor Migration and Management Bill, the Sports Amendment Bill, and also, Mr. Speaker, the business will include several motions as follows. The report of the Standing Committee on Energy on its inquiry into the liquefied petroleum gas explosion in Mradi area, Embakasi, Nairobi City County. Report of the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare on an inquiry into the welfare of workers in export processing zones in Mombasa and Kilifi counties. Report of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on its inquiry into personal security concerns raised by the Honorable Philomena Kapkori, the Deputy Governor of Trans Nzoia County. Reports of the Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relations on its inquiry into the state of markets in Vihiga and Bungoma counties arising from statements sought by Senator Godfrey Ososi, MP, and Senator David Wakoli, MP. Development of a policy and law for social risk management in infrastructure development projects in Kenya, and reports of the Select Committee on County Public Investments and Special Funds on its consideration of the audited reports of various water, sanitation, and sewerage service companies for the financial years 2018-2019, Volume 4, and 2019-2020, Volume 6, and 2020-2021, Volume 9. Progress report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity, and Regional Integration into the inquiry on the diversity and inclusivity in the staff composition of state agencies in Kenya, establishment of national teaching and referral hospitals in Kenya, county governments to set aside land for the planting of indigenous trees, allocation of scholarships and bursaries by county governments, development of safety officers in schools for enhancement of security and preparedness, steps to effective waste management in cities, towns, and urban areas in the country, and strengthening support for the pastoralist communities to combat cattle rustling and minimize livestock losses. Mr. Speaker, also on the list will be the protected business for Thursday, 14th November 2024, will include business not concluded in the order papers for Tuesday, 12th November and Wednesday, 13th November of 2024, and any other business scheduled by the Senate Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, I thank you and wish members a fruitful and enjoyable 10-day recess in their counties. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Majority Leader. We will now hear comments on those statements for 15 minutes. Each senator speaking for 2 minutes. Senator Olekina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me begin by appreciating the work of my colleagues in bringing into their attention very pertinent matters that requires attention. Mr. Speaker, I wish to comment on several statements quickly, and I'll go straight to the point. The first statement is a personal statement read by the distinguished senator from Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, this House, we're here to be able to become the ombudspersons of the citizens of Kenya. And when a distinguished senator who has been elected is threatened because of her work, it really, really bothers me.
Senator Olekina, you know you cannot comment on a personal statement.
Mr. Speaker, you know, I appreciate and definitely I'm aware of that, but there are things which are brought here which really concerns us in terms of oversight. So, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to beseech you to apply your discretion on Standing Order number 1 in allowing me to comment on issues that needs our attention. The issue of the distinguished senator, Senator Dulo, is something that this House must take notice and really work on it to be able to bring sanity into that county, because it is a crisis, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, because of my time, I'd like to comment on the statement by the distinguished senator from Migori on the issue to do with data protection. It is imperative, Mr. Speaker, that since we have the Data Protection Act, that everything that we do as a country is guided by that piece of legislation. One of my biggest problems, Mr. Speaker, is that every time if you go in and change your SIM card, it is quite clear that Safaricom will tell you that we use your data or we receive your data when you're changing your SIM card, when you're doing registration. But one of